Welcome to Transformers Hub, an entity, an organization that is very dedicated to transforming lives timelessly. We are in Namugongo, just behind Uganda Matters. Our main motive, mission is to transform lives across all ages. What pleases us is to see a transformed human being. We must encourage you every Friday. Please feel free to catch up with us on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. We are always dedicated to throwing in a word or two that is geared towards transforming lives. Even today, we are still committed to our noble calling. And today, in a special way, we want to welcome back all the students from schools, the holiday makers, and allow me congratulate all the parents out there. Thank you so much for sparing time to pay fees on time and really taking care of the children throughout the 3 months. It's not very easy. It's not very easy, but we must thank all the parents. And all the children are now back in the holidays. Today it has not been very easy, and I know today, tomorrow, it is all still breaking off. But that brings us a very big question on the table. And as Transformers Hub, we must swing in action.
Exactly.
Children are back from schools. Parents are now either excited, others are even already stressed.
Yes.
Children are back in the holidays. We are now tired. We must work. What should we do? When are schools reopening so that we get rid of the children? Oh, parents out there, please just give us your ears. We feel there is a very big problem in the country and the world over. The question of parenting in the holidays. What do holidays mean exactly? When children break off from school, it simply means there is a break of the academic course, the academic cycle. Now we are back home for parents to also begin the parenting. Because there is little parenting done at school.
Very little.
Although we throw in a point here and there. Mainly at school, it is the question of academics. But then when we say holidays, we are now throwing back the mantle to the parents out there to also do the grooming of the child. Because it's not about academics. But we are realizing a degenerating society. And why the society is increasingly getting rotten, it's just because parents have not played their cards accurately. I think there is a big parental gap. When kids get back in the holiday, we still don't feel we need
Like
a
we
role
need
to
the
play.
children.
Parents have not yet appreciated that they still have a role to play in the holidays. But here we are at Transformers Hub. We still feel it is our role to remind parents about their duties, parenting in the holidays, having realized that the world is increasingly getting rotten. Children are now being raised by strangers. From the day she's born, just after 3 months, the maternity leave is done and she must be
She has
handed
to go
over
back
to the
to
maid.
work. Yep.
You ladies, that is what you exactly do because you're needed at your workplace. Then the maid takes on the duty. At the time, the child is supposed to bond with the mother. Then after a little while, 1 year down the road, at times you don't complete even the breastfeeding cycle. The child must then join a daycare somewhere for 6 months.
From
When
stranger
the
to
child
stranger.
gets to 4 years, these days you don't even wait for 4 years. 3 years, the child is already being handed over to the nursery. And by the time you're realizing the child is getting to 7 years, these are very sensitive stages.
It's like it's not your child anymore.
That is
have
not
to know
a child.
them.
The
You
child
have to
is
know
then
them.
pushed to boarding section and they're in the hands and at the mercy of the matron. But remember, the matrons have over 200 kids to look after. So we have realized children no longer have any bond. They don't understand parents. They have been purely raised by strangers. At Transformers Hub, we are saying, wait a minute. A parent listening out there, did you exactly know that it is during the holiday time that you're supposed to fill the missing gap? That you're supposed to close that parental gap? And we feel there is a lot of don'ts, the do's and don'ts of a parent as children get back in the holidays. And today I'm happy I'm being joined by two ladies who, by the way, are also parents.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel I should allow you advice, especially you, the females. How best should parents, what is exactly expected of a parent as you have the child in the holiday? Say the child is in P7, has at least the 3 weeks, because normally holidays 3 weeks to a month, or senior form. But even when they come back, they still have a lot of work on table, and there is a lot of pressure. I know you must look for fees to take them back, but I feel all parents out there, something has to be done, and it is me and you to set a better world. And that is where we feel Transformers Hub should come in and transform lives and add a value. So, Madam Patricia.
Yes, Mr. Chain.
I'm happy today I'm joined by a parent.
I'm glad to be here.
What exactly do you feel our parents out there should learn, basing on your experience, how you've always treated your children or your child in the holidays, and what you have to advise a parent out there who is very accustomed to listening and following Transformers Hub? Your years.
So, Mr. Chain, I've been reminded, when I was in boarding school, back then, a parent would come and visit anytime they wanted.
You said you were in boarding school.
Yes, I was
also
in boarding school.
The parent while at school?
Yes, I would. I'd miss home. I'd be very homesick.
This is a very strong point.
I'd be very homesick.
Children at school miss us.
Yep.
So meaning when you would get back home, or you feel you want to bond with the parent.
Before even that, by the time we start doing exams, I'm thinking home. So by the time the day we finish the exams, I just want to go home on the same day. Even if we finish at 5 or 6, I want to go home. So there's something you mentioned about boarding schools. So I think at some point, comparing to when I was in boarding school and now that the kids are in boarding school, we have shorter times or very little time to go and see them at school. And then we'll be there by midday, out by 5. And between then, you're just eating and there's no time to really catch up with the child. You probably see them, you probably see them twice in a term. A term has 3 weeks and probably a week more.
3 months, 90
3
days.
months, yes,
but
exactly.
Within the
3
90
months.
days, parents, remember, you're only given 2, at most
Exactly.
2 visitation
visiting days.
And even the visitation days, because of contemporary jam around town, you get to school at 1,
and you
by
have to,
5 you must walk out. So look at the position of the child there.
And between then you have to see the head teacher, the class teacher, the monitor, every person has to tell you about your child. Meanwhile, your child hasn't told you about themselves, the things they miss, the things they want,
Yes.
And I also feel like at some point, because that's our parents would come and visit us, and it would be like your parent even checks you, like your character, your behavior. I don't like how you're dressed. Is this how you're dressing in school? They'll even tell the teacher. But nowadays, I have a feeling that even parents have left the parenting, like you're saying, to the school, in that they no longer feel like my child has come. They feel like it's a burden. It's a burden, for my son to be home. Like, when those things.
So children are becoming a burden. That
when
we push them to boarding sections, we feel, like, that burden is off our shoulders. When they get back in the holidays, you can only stomach it for a week and you begin praying harder. When parents receive the reports, they first look at the reporting date.
Yes.
I'm only having my child for 2 days. I think parents, there is a very big gap. There is a point we are losing out there. We should yearn to have more time with our kids. They should understand us. That is why you find children of, I don't want to say of this generation, but they no longer bond with parents. They don't feel like they're missing their dad, they're missing their mother.
Yeah, they also don't feel that bond.
Pathways way back in kindergarten.
Exactly.
So you're encouraging, in other words, the parents to create more time. Since while at school for the 3 months, they never get that time. It's only 2 days. Actually, we call it 2 days visitation, but it's just hours. Thank you so much. That was very brilliant. Oh yes. What else do you feel? Maybe I can cross to Madam Shakira. How best do you feel parents should bond with the children, especially during holiday time?
When you were speaking, you talked about parents leaving their grooming and raising their children to strangers. And this makes more sense a lot, most especially to young parents out there. So lately, what I've realized is that before this kid gets to even say hello, they have a tablet. They're given television. So if they're not with the maid, they're going to be
with the cartoon
in front of the TV or a tablet. So we are letting strangers raise our children, not just the maids. we get our young teenagers and we give them phones, and they're going to go on social media platforms whereby they're going to meet millions and millions of strangers. And these strangers have their backgrounds, which are different, that have different morals that go on. And these kids are always going to pick out one of you. So imagine a million strangers whereby your kid has to pick something from them.
Oh, that is
from each one of them. Yeah.
So this shows us already the position where parents, we have lost it out. That even right from picking the children from school, the child is anxiously waiting to see the dad or the mom picking them. By the way, the dads never have time. But I want to tell you, at times the children feel they want to see the dad. And I don't know for which reasons. The girl child loves bonding more with the father, and then the boy loves more of the mother. Maybe that is still natural. But I must encourage parents out there. We said we are taking you through the do's and the don'ts as we are preparing and swinging through the holiday time. Pick the child from school yourself.
Yes.
Because I've come to realize there are so many borders all over the roads, picking the children. But are we very sure that these border riders are riding our children exactly to their homes? Or they can also take advantage and they first take them to different corners. By the time they get home, and by the way, the most unfortunate bit, when you are called at school that holiday is on such and such a day, it's better you respect that date. Otherwise, when you go by what the child has communicated, children are so bright. They can communicate Monday when in reality the day was Friday. So that in between then, they create their own outings. So parents out there, we are just calling upon you. Pick the children from school yourself.
Mr. Chaine, you said something about border riders. You know, these people have funny conversations. So you're getting your senior two student, and you're letting her be dropped or picked up by the border guy. What conversation do you think that child is going to have with that border guy?
Oh yes, that is also equally dangerous because they create in so many unnecessary stories without respecting the age difference.
Exactly.
And at times, parents, you have the so-called borders you trust, that we trust our man here and there. Never trust anybody. I must remind parents out there, never trust anybody with your child, more so the female child. Then I've also realized, as we pick the children, few parents take trouble to check the property.
The children have come back home with.
The things children come back home with. And I think, Madam Shakira, how best should I check the property? Because, for example, me, the dad, I may not exactly know. And at times when I go into the suitcase of a girl child, I feel I'm encroaching on her privacy. What should exactly be done?
First of all, if it is a girl child, definitely it has to be the mom that has to do that, because naturally it comes to us. It is in nature for us to take care of others, to look out for their needs. So if we did shopping earlier on together, I have to know that you're responsible enough to have kept those things in place, and you have brought them back in one piece. And we have to know that whatever that you brought is yours, not picking on someone else's thing and say that it is yours. So we have to give them a sense of responsibility and teach them that any action has a reaction. So if that action, if you have stolen something from your friend, there has to be a consequence.
Yeah, because I realized in one of the schools, the boy brought home black books, but in there, they had stapled, properly by the way, a phone, a smartphone stolen from a teacher. And the child was very smart, stapled in a sense that you could only see a black book. But what was inside, I think parents, we are also losing out on this. As you're picking your children, don't even wait to reach at school. Let the suitcases be open. Sometimes we come when we're in a rush. I have 1 minute, I'm supposed to be at work.
We have to go.
Now kids take advantage. Even when you get at home, you never have time to go through their property. And this should not only be seen as you're picking the child. Even as you're getting back to school, check their property. Otherwise you get embarrassed. As you're reporting at the checking desk, the child has carried illegal property. And you look funny. There is a time I saw a child. She didn't have knickers. I think only 1 or 2 had been bought. And they were asking the mother, but are you sure the child is only going to use this? Have you carried sanitary towels? And the mother didn't have any idea. The father didn't have any. It was a little embarrassing. After all, the girl was in senior 1. Maybe that is why they forgot. But even when in senior 1, I think you prepare the girl that you need this emergency.
Even the kid gets to know that they have to be responsible, because if the mom is going to be checking before or after school, they get to know that I have to check my stuff before I do anything, because at the end of the day,
mom is
going to check these things out.
And why do we check property, parents out there? You can teach your child to be a senior thief indirectly. Because the moment she carries home what you never gave her, and you don't even take note of it, and you don't even mind, tomorrow they will bring more property in the house. And trust me, even what you already have in the house may still be pushed out. So we need to be careful. If I didn't give you this bra, you cannot then tell me that you've carried it. Take it back exactly where you got it. I think that would really paint us responsible parents. Remember, it takes a community to raise a child. And painfully, I must say, not whoever gives birth is a parent. That is where Transformers Hub here, we take an extra mile to transform lives, to remind parents what is exactly expected of them. Then I've also realized that at times we just pick children, we drop them home, but we never take trouble to sit with them, to find out exactly what they go through.
Have a one-on-one.
I want to tell you, children are suffering from so many problems. At times, even generated at school, not by teachers, but it could just be the environment. The child is not comfortable, and you never listen to them. I think, Madam Patricia, it's very paramount. We spare time to sit with, let it be a boy child, let it be a girl child. And by the way, at a certain point, these could be active adolescents. And you find a girl is being disturbed by boys, but she fears sharing with you. Oh yes, have you ever been teased by boys, or you find they're encroaching on you and you don't have what to say? Oh yes.
So I'll give you what my mom used to do. So my mom would tell me, bring all your friends at home. I want to know all your friends. So for me, she didn't specify girls, but she would say all your friends. So if she sees me talking to her boy, she'll be like, hey, invite him home. So I grew up knowing that everyone who is my friend has to come and meet my mom. Even you, Mr. Cheune, at some point I'd be like, you come and say hi to my mom. You know, and that made it, I didn't understand that, but because I remember my friends would be like, hey, you even invite boys to your home. I'm like, they are my friends, they're not boys.
She wanted you to be very open.
Yes, very open with her. And by then I am very open with my mom.
Oh, she taught you openness.
I would be, it would be easy. I remember there was a time I took a boy home and be like, Mom, this boy wants to marry me. So me, I was just speaking, and my mom was like,
so you were that naive or
I can't say, but I'm sure she was happy that I told her that.
I must appreciate and learn a point that she taught you to be very open. I think from Transformers Hub, we shall buy her a soda, right, to appreciate. But parents out there, we need to learn and teach our children to be very free with us. That even when she has a boy around trying to disturb her, she can openly say it. And eventually, you will advise as a parent. I have seen many parents having challenges. How will I begin talking to my child over these issues? Oh my God, you need to guide. You need to prepare the child. And if you find it so challenging, that is why Transformers Hub, we are here. Very committed. We can always have a talk. We can always share with your children, and we guide them accordingly, because we are professionals. We know which age should hear what. So it is very important we spare time in the holidays. You can even take your kids out. You sit somewhere.
Spend time. Play games.
Yes, play games. Have a full day.
There's some subsidized and free activities that people can take on. For example, take them to the museum. How much do they know?
Yes.
You know? So I think parents sometimes think that spending time with their children has to be costly. It doesn't have to be.
You can sit somewhere in very fresh gardens, right, and just have sodas. But in the process, you're trying to bond. You're trying to compensate for the time you lost when they were at school, 90 days, and they're now home for only 30, hardly 30 days. Hardly 30 days. So you can create a weekend. Parents out there, at least over the weekends, let us see you flooding the beaches around or any other recreation center. Sit and
let them relax their minds.
But the challenge we get you straight away begin with the report. You performed poorly for the whole of this week. You're not going to have this. You have wasted my fees. Oh, this is a broader topic, and we're going to discuss it extensively the whole of this holiday. I've also then realized that even when we take time at times to share, we never mind teaching the children housework. And remember, you are the females. Today I have you ladies here. When it comes to housework, yes, we agree, even boys must really be equipped. But we feel this is more pronounced on the side of the girl child. Remember, as your child is growing, dear parents out there following Transformers Hub, you're raising someone's wife at a later stage,
And
you're
mother.
raising someone's mother.
Yes.
So train that girl child to be a responsible mother you would love to meet, or that wife you would love your son
To marry.
So how best can I prepare the girl child, especially for housework? Then Madam Patricia will also help us with a hint of how to prepare the boy child.
So first of all, I would like to tell the parents that we are leaving the children to stay in their bedrooms and they isolate themselves from the real world. So I would advise them to reduce on the technology and bring them into doing house chores. So by doing that, you encourage them by doing it with you and show them here and there how they do it. How it doesn't matter if it is a girl or a boy, those are survival skills at the end of the day.
Yep.
So if our parents really lead by example and try doing things by teaching them hands-on, I believe that is the best way to do it, because you cannot leave it to the maid. The maid does not have the best interest for your child.
Yes, and I feel
The maid is just
there is a
Yeah.
parent whose example I would love to share. The parent would set a timetable and say the whole of this week it is Shakira washing the utensils, the dishes.
Yeah.
The parent had calculated that by the end of the week, perhaps she will have perfected that. Next week, Shakira, you're the one mopping,
Yeah.
and the child for a full week doing the mopping morning and evening. Trust me, that would see her perfect there. Then third week, it's you doing the washing, or eventually the ironing. So parents out there, you may not teach the child to grasp it all in one day, but you can begin it on a very small scale. This week, you're doing this. Now we have children who don't even have any idea of cooking. And you're the mother.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, parents out
And
there,
they're teenagers.
many marriages are falling out. Many marriages are failing because women don't know how to cook.
An egg.
Not even an egg.
The
Now,
simplest.
who should teach the child? Is it the school still under biology? Oh, Madam Patricia.
I think as a parent, it's my responsibility. You know, like Shaki said, survival skills in the long run. See, so whether it's a boy or a girl. So for example, if the wife is at the hospital, she's pregnant, maybe they have another child at home, you know, and the wife is probably, she needs help at the hospital, and the husband is at home with the child. The food is there. You know, why would he have to spend money? And he can fry a little egg, he can clean the house before the wife comes, instead of waiting for the mom to come and do all this, you know. So the children need to learn, you know, like what she was saying, by example. We do it first, even though we have help at home, we have house help at home, we need to do work with them. We don't let them do everything. She washes the dishes, I clean the house. The child has to learn. She sees, and then I also tell her what to do.
At what age should I begin preparing the child to learn how to cook?
Well, I believe the child, as the child sees you doing it, because I can't tell you that I had a specific time when I taught my child. I was there one day, like now I have a 4-year-old son. So one time I was making chapati and he says, Mommy, I want to help you make chapati. So initially, the first thing would be like, but then he was so interested. So I gave him a piece of his dough to make, and he actually did it, you know. So the interest would start. Most of the time, they say children will show you when they are ready. But sometimes, even as a parent, you coax a little. Come and help Mama. Bring me that basin. Bring me the soap. He may not be able to squeeze the thing, you know, or roll the dough or anything.
Really provoke that interest.
You provoke the interest in
Miss
them. And
Patty.
before you know it, yes, check.
There is an experience that I went through when I was a child. You provoked me into remembering that story. I remember I used to be a little bit stubborn. So my mom would kind of get me in the evening, yet I've not yet bathed. So as she was cooking, she would get these banana, are there stems? The banana leaf stems,
Yes.
as chiboko. So
That is what raised all of us.
I was lying down there as she's cooking. So as she's cooking, she canes me a little bit and she cooks. But I used to watch her cook the entire time. So as she was caning me, I was actually watching her cook at the same time with that banana leaves.
We really appreciate those small
Parenting.
skills the parents had. And I must remind you, parents out there, you cannot parent if you are not parented.
True.
You cannot raise a child into an admirable one if you are not equally raised through the right channels. We must appreciate the grandparents handed over to our parents a right generation. It is entirely our duty to also hand over a very morally upright generation so that we later sit back and celebrate the grandchildren. And the time is now. At Transformers Hub, That is our dedication. We are on the issue of teaching children skills.
Yeah.
That parents out there, when the children get back home, it simply means, whereas we have reduced the academic cycle, life is not all about academic excellency.
Sure.
I must teach this. You can get a first grade in school, but you have a fourth grade in the life after school.
Wow.
You
Scary.
can have a first grade in school, but you're leaving a fourth grade in life outside school. And when we go through all these preparations, we shall be able to have a first grade in class and a first grade in life after school.
Yeah.
So we need to teach our children. If I can use myself as an example,
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I've never cooked anything. Why? My mother was rather a different lady. Well, maybe I can later appreciate it. But at a certain point, I cry when I find I can't cook anything for myself. She never allowed us, the boys, to get next to the kitchen because that was a no-go zone for the boys. But my sisters, I would hear them being caned for not accurately doing it. And what would be assigned? The whole of this week, it's you preparing matoke. Any normal child will begin with resistance, but they'll later appreciate it.
Yeah.
But why should the maids do the cooking when the children are back in the holidays?
Exactly.
When do these children learn how to prepare meat?
True.
The first day the soup will be funny, but gradually
They will
the
get
skill
it.
will come. Oh yes. Then we have the religious issue. I feel if we don't teach our children religion, because one famous man said, somebody without religion, does not deserve to be ruled. By the way, you should not even befriend somebody who has no religious background or backbone. But when do we teach and how do we teach children religious values and practices? They are back in the holidays. For example, Madam Shakira, you are a Muslim. How should I teach my child? Because not all children go to Muslim schools.
Exactly.
But they need to learn this at an early stage. I don't know how best you'd prepare a child.
There is a saying that says, life without God has no purpose. So, for the Muslim side, we are very fortunate that we are allowed to teach our children from the word go. From the moment they learn to speak, they get to know how to recite the Quran. They get to know about God.
Because I imagine the Quran is very complicated, and I imagine maybe one needs to first get to senior four to begin learning.
To learn
It is
Arabic.
surprising. Recently, I watched a video whereby I've seen a boy who recited the entire Quran at 8 years. So,
meaning the practice was done a little earlier.
yes, you have to give them practice slowly by slowly. You do not have to force it
So
onto
do
them.
even the young kids go to the mosque?
Yes, you're supposed to teach them by giving them examples. If you're going to the mosque, carry them along with you. Otherwise, if you don't go to church, how are they going to know about it? They're not going to practice something that they never learned.
Okay, that is
So,
a good practice.
I'm thinking, wait before you go to work, because at the end of the day, you have to go and look for bread. You have to go and look for school fees. But before you go, wake them up, have a family
prayers
prayer.
together.
Exactly.
A family that prays together.
Stays together.
Wonderful. Then that is the side of the Muslim faith. How about the Christians? When do I begin teaching the child how to read at least a verse in the Bible and maybe preach a word?
Well, I spoke to my son even when he was still in the stomach. Scientists say a child in the stomach can listen and hear and understand what their mother says.
So at that point,
So
you
they
are
might-
reciting our
I would
Father.
speak the Bible, I would speak the word of God. You belong to Jesus. The Bible says that you're a winner. The Bible says all those things. So when he grows up, he might not be able to articulate or to speak the words, but when he starts talking, everything that I spoke to him about will be in his brain. You know how the brain works. He will start speaking,
That
but
is the
only if I
science.
still continue. You know, because the Bible says that Jesus at 12 years, he was in the synagogue teaching the teachers of the law, the
You
word
can
of
imagine
God.
at 12 years.
At 12 years, yet Jesus was born and raised by earthly parents, right? So which means they taught him from when he was young. He knew the whole Bible by the year 12,
Oh, that is something I'm learning.
you know? So Jesus, that means they spent time, much as they're doing all these other things, but I'm sure it
There
was a
was
priority.
time.
Yes, there was time to
Oh,
teach Jesus
Very
the
wonderful.
word of God.
That is why I love the Transformers Hub. Parents out there is a very strong point in here that unless we teach our children at an early stage religious values, As Madam Sheke emphasized, even before you leave home for work, you be a dad. Spare a minute and at least have the morning glory. They call it morning glory, morning prayer together. Then when you come back in the evening, at least have that last prayer together. And for example, the Christians have time and say, read us verse Luke chapter 2, verse 1. Okay, fine, you've read it. What does it mean? Allow them at that little age. Pick the sense of interpretation and have the prayers together. That is when they'll know, oh, we are supposed to pray before we eat. But look at that dad out there. You just eat food. The children are seeing you. Just eating food. They ever know that before we eat food, we appreciate those who cooked it and the Lord that provided it. Mother, even when food is done, you must give glory to God. You must thank. But before you go to bed, still spare a minute.
True. Mr. Chaine. So some people do not know that you speaking to God and giving him your worries and troubles is a way of meditation. So it kind of releases you of the stress. You get relieved in a certain way and you get to start your day on a good note. So teach those students because they are stressed when they come from school. Give them those values, godly values.
Meaning prayer is equally stress reliever.
Exactly.
When you come to Sunday and you must go to church, but now dad rarely gets into church. It's only Christmas. Dad rarely goes to the mosque. How do you expect children to ever learn that? Parents out there, children are back for holidays. Let us at least acquire one thing. Let us proudly say, this holiday, I have taught them how to pray. This holiday, I've taught them how to recite a Quran. What I normally do with my children, perhaps you can equally borrow an idea. When they want something, I say, pray for it. Pray that gets money to pay fees. I want shoes. Okay, you begin praying. So even when they're praying, I normally teach them, what have you prayed for? That I've prayed, you get money. Fine. Now when I get some little coin, I bring them soda. When you prayed,
God
I
answered
got money,
prayer.
God has answered. So one thing I now learned all the time, whenever they have any challenge, they are always praying. We are dedicated to transforming lives timelessly and across all ages, across a broader spectrum of life dynamics. We are also looking at cultural additional value. It is so painful. I began with a statement that the generation is degenerating. When it comes to culture, we must appreciate we are Africans. And it's pure on the African continent where we have a very rich culture.
Exactly.
Do your children know your culture? Dad, mom listening out there, do your children know your culture? We are now living a very funny setting. I'm a Munyankole, I've married a Msoga. I am a Msoga, I've married a Mugwere, or maybe a Northerner. We are totally having different cultures at home. And you find children are growing up amidst confusion. But even then, at least let them embrace one direction. Let them learn the cultural aspects. Or let us begin with just language. When children get back home, that is the time to learn their language. English is okay, but they have had time at school to practice enough of it. When they get back home, that is now the time to practice their mother tongue. Does your child know your mother
tongue? Yes, they know how to speak. They know how to speak English and Luganda.
I imagine parents, the mistakes we are making. We find a lot of pride when our children can fluently speak. When they become very eloquent, trust me, that brings a lot of joy over our faces. But that has never been their language. The secret lies in you mastering your mother language. That will boost your memory and your reasoning. None of you has ever dreamt in English. Even when you to draw so many reflections on what it begins with your mother language. How best can you teach your child?
Well,
to grasp. Just I've only picked out the aspect of language.
Yes. So I was born in Nairobi. I'm half Kenyan, half Ugandan. So my mom grew with us up in Nairobi. But guess what? Much as we were in Nairobi and we are like more Kenyan than Ugandan, we still went by the Ugandan values and the Ugandan culture.
So you never learned Swahili?
No, we speak Swahili, of course. We speak it very well, but my father tongue.
Don't talk to those who only understand Swahili. how best they would teach the children how best to learn Kiswahili.
Well, ukitaka mtoto azungumze Kiswahili na uko mahali kama Uganda ambapo watu wazungumzi Kiswahili sana, wewe zungumza tu na yeye Kiswahili, zungumza Kiswahili. The only thing is that they will learn by listening. You know, they learn by listening and you telling them, explaining to them. If their children, kani watoto wadogo, umemtuma kikombe, a cup, you tell them, bring me a cup, point to it. You know, they will understand. Next time when you say kikombe, they'll know kikombe is a cup in Swahili.
Kikombe is a cup.
Kikombe, yes.
Oh, and in my culture, it is something very funny, by the way. If you chikomba, you already once said it. But now this is the point we are picking out, that there is no way the children are going to learn our languages until we practice them.
Yes,
because they learn by hearing.
Yes.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Yes.
They learn by hearing. And now you find dad, mom, all the time they're using English and they call it romantic. Now even the kids have picked on English.
Romantic English.
Oh, our generation is degenerating. Kids are in senior 2, 3, 4. They cannot even address visitors.
Mr. Chayune, like language, one of the best cultural practices, like language.
It begins with language.
Yes, it begins with the language.
Yeah, that is why this would rather be a broader issue. But I've picked out the aspect of language. Because even right from Chikomba, Chikopo, and even if you're to say basket or anything, it begins with language. But now you find someone cannot even discuss their background or lineage, because culture is broad. It even goes to the way we prepare.
We are slowly washing out our culture, and it is really absurd. And the parents are really happy letting their child
enjoy it.
Exactly, and it is really so absurd. Eventually, we are going to lose our culture. And who is going to preserve our culture if we do not do that? And how do you preserve that culture? You pass it on,
and you out there to help the children grasp and learn our cultures, appreciate them, involving, by the way, even our family, relatives,
everyone.
And one thing they are forgetting, Mr. Chayune, our culture is really, really rich, whereby it takes on so many problems that we are facing right now.
Because we have lost the cultural values.
Exactly. And you realize that the children that we're having at this moment, at this generation that we're having right now, is totally different. They have no clue of who we really used to be, or even our parents used to be.
There is a point I'm picking out that is very excellent from Madame Shakira, that even culture has a lot when it comes to cementing morality.
Exactly.
Because we shall quickly say, in my culture, I cannot greet while
standing. Exactly.
But today, a girl finds no harm in talking to you even from a distance.
They're just saying hi. They see a visitor and they just...
The style of greeting has been lost. All parents out there, the holiday time is on, and here at Transformers Hub we are saying, at least proudly say, this holiday I taught my children how to greet, how to prepare our local dish, because each culture has its own local dish.
True.
But most of all, I have taught them some English. But I must say this, at least even teach them how to know some relatives, or how I wish we had a full day to discuss this. But then, because of time, even when we feel that is what should be done, I feel on the other hand, there is what should not be done before the children in the holidays. Parents out there, we have done a lot to spoil our own children.
We are contributing a lot.
Monkey, what monkey sees?
Monkey do.
Monkey do.
Monkey sees.
Monkey do.
All we at times say charity begins at home. Meaning most of these vices or even ugly habits we are seeing, at times
most likely they start at home.
From children, rather from parents.
Parents,
while children are back in the holidays, let us guard against the following. I heard Madam Shakia talk about social media, because we are trying to wind up in the interest of time. But how are you cautioning parents? Yes, we agree social media, the phones are very good, there are 1,000 advantages. But trust me, all the evil we are suffering is from social media. How should I control my children? I'm never home. How best should I regulate them from using social media? Oh, yes.
You're right 100%. For me, for starters, I do not believe in giving a child phones until they are really ready to go and work and buy themselves a phone. And then the other thing is, why would you give your child a tablet to learn, yet you are the best teacher there are so many things that your child can learn from. It is not necessarily those phones. We are substituting parenting and teaching.
Meaning we are borrowing knowledge of these electronic gadgets to do the parenting.
Yeah.
And these gadgets do not allow the kid to think freely because they're always going to be focused on those phones. They do not get to exercise their brains, their talents. You can never tell because they're always going to be focused on these things because they're captivating them in some way or the other. And also caution them and let them know that there are predators on those social media platforms. There is a video I saw whereby men masquerade as 13-year-olds or 12-year-olds, and they get to talk to your children. A full-blown grown man is talking to your child, and guess what are they talking about? Guess what? And they start by enticing them with
realize the aspect of social media is broader than we can discuss.
Exactly.
So this is what I promise parents out there, because we have dedicated ourselves the whole of this holiday. We are on to parenting, and don't worry. Next week, Friday, I'm even bringing some children to share their experience in the holidays. What exactly they have gone through, or the challenges, or where they feel a parental gap. But I feel still in our episodes, we shall spare time and talk about the effects of social media so that you guard against our children. Yes, we agree. Every good thing is with social media as technology dictates. We need only be extremely careful. Which age should be permitted to use social media and to what extent? All right. Then, Madam Patricia, I always hear children talk of outings. They break off today. The next day, I want to have a sleepover to my friend. We want to go this side. You don't at times even know where they are going. Please help me caution parents out there. Are there any dangers in my child talking of outings all over and over again, or even there is a new vocabulary, sleepover? And all the time, today they slept over the other side, tomorrow is sleeping over almost every weekend, and at times endless birthdays.
Small parties, calling friends, telling mom today I'm going here, 2 days later. Meanwhile, these children are not doing any work at home. So parents, have conversations with your children, communicate with your children. The only way that you'll be able to control, or let me say put in check your child, especially teenagers, is when you're friends with them, you're close to them, communicate with them. Don't react so fast. Don't be scared when they say, Mommy, I have a party, I want to go, and engage them first. Wow, show interest, ask them questions, engage them, so that by the time they even want to go, they don't even want to go, because they will tell you things that happen there. And remember, you're a parent, you've been through these things. So you'll be able to caution them and talk to them against some of these things. Yes, it's good to allow them to hang out with your friends, but especially if you don't know their friends, it's probably wise not to do so. So I'm going to leave a story. I'll finish with this story. I read somewhere that some parents have code words with their children. For example, Mr. Cherine and Miss Shakira are my friends, but Mr. Cherine and Mr. Shakira, they have bad vices. So they'll tell me, Patricia, let's go and have a beer. But I know my parents have told me the dangers of mind-altering substances. So I'll call my parents, I'll tell my friends, okay, that's okay, we can still go out, because I want to be cool. I want to look cool around my friends. So I don't want them to think
what you're learning out of that,
it's not good. So I will tell my parents, I'll call my parents. So this girl would call the parents and be like, Dad, Mom, my friends here, they want me to go so and so, and I'll probably say the code word, which is beer. So my friends will create a situation and get me out of their company, and be like, oh, by the way, I've gone away, so I'm not in danger, because so parents, you have a big part to play. We actually have a big part to play. Yes, and it's not easy, but it's doable.
Never allow your child to go into any outings if you don't exactly know where they are going and the company they are in. The moment you swing in an ugly company, some people say bad company corrupts
good morals.
Oh yes, very unfortunate. Then I want to caution parents with especially the language we use
around home
before the children.
Yes.
Even if you have wrangles, you have misunderstandings, your children should never see you. I insist, your children should never see you causing a quarrel. Otherwise, lock up yourselves in the bedroom and argue over it, or you can even choose to go out purposely to sort out the differences. But it is very bad manners to quarrel before your children, so that the children get to also know Mommy and Dad having misunderstandings. It has now taken a week. they are not communicating. Oh, it is very bad practice. I know we sometimes get challenges, but let us try not to paint an ugly picture. Actually, kids feel so proud when they see dad and mom smile.
Yes.
Then dress code, I think we shall spare some other time.
Yes.
But let us be very watchful over how our children dress.
Yes.
Parents, I really feel I had very little time, but we should be very, very careful. Already they're in the holidays. Get Monday, they are going to be all over the streets. The first thing they change hair. Let your children keep within their age range. But you find the child wants to take the hairstyle of the mother. You even leave them your lipstick and makeup. They also exactly makeup. Oh,
makeup for what?
Up for who exactly?
Exactly.
When you allow your child to look 18 at the age of 14, she will exactly get the temptations of an 18-year-old girl. Allow them remain young. If they must grow hair, let it be at the right age. But senior one too, hair adds almost 10 years onto your true age. You're 14, you've put on a different, I don't know how you call it, wig, you know better.
Those things.
But it makes you get to the age of 30. And trust me, men spare no age.
Scary.
Men spare no age. It's only you, the parent out there, who exactly knows the age of your child. And to the men, unfortunately, the younger the better. Let us guard and protect our children jealously. Avoid condemnation. You're only having 3 weeks with your child. Trust me, the child was in school first term, 90 days, you're only having 3 weeks. And by the way, if it is candidates, they even give that candidate only 1 week or 2. Second term, at the end of the day, in the whole year, you only have hardly 2 months with your child. But every time you're with your child, you are condemning at a time you're supposed to be bonding.
Stress.
Not every mistake you're seeing should be addressed in a tough tone.
It's true.
I can choose to come back and I see something wrong, I ignore.
You let go,
I call you, you say, but let's have a soda. And I make sure you're having a soda from a very dirty area. Now, I will not automatically, the child will feel touched to clean the place. Say, let's stay. Why do you have to wait for places to get to this level? Who was supposed to work? You can't work on the utensils. I think they don't look good. You can choose to use a softy tone, but you leave a point understood. You don't have to lose your voice. You don't need to be wild for something to be understood. By the way, a softy tone can make a very loud message. A very soft tone can make the loudest message. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for keeping yourselves with the Transformers Hub. We are very much dedicated to transforming lives. I just can't leave this out. Avoid discussing teachers with your children. I know it's a very big temptation as you pick them from school. The next topic, how is that teacher? Remember, these are second parents you trust the children with for 90 days. If the children must ever respect teachers, it begins with you. Thank you so much. It has been an interesting discussion.
Mr. Chairman, just one more thing that I wanted to caution the parents. Parents, predators that prey on your children are everywhere, even in your household. It can be a relative, it can be a friend.
Most of your brother.
It could be even a brother, even the father. So just like Mr. Chayune said, guard your children jealously from everyone. Yes, does that mean you shouldn't trust everyone? Yes, you can trust, but always keep a watchful eye. Because the study that is made, most of the rape cases that happen are from the people that we know. Most of them are our friends, uncles, grandparents, everyone. So just be watchful of your children.
Thank you so much, Madam Sheke. That has been very wonderful. Remember, you have a girl child. She has her own syllabus as a girl child. You have a boy child. He equally has his own syllabus. Parents, let us play our roles. Parents, especially the males, our dads out there, you sometimes leave it all to the mothers. let us all join this struggle to
Yes.
raise a wonderful generation.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This is Transformers Hub. I've been with Madame Patricia, very committed to transforming female lives, and Madame Shakila. I'll always remain Chene Andrew. We are in Namugongo. In case you're wondering, it's just behind Uganda Matters. You have a child whom you don't exactly understand. The child is in active adolescent stage.
Yes.
Feel free. You're going to call on our numbers down there, and we shall help you out. We extend counseling services, parenting, and we are always there to even offer skills in case children are in the holidays and you'd love them to learn a skill or two. Oh, don't miss out on Transformers Hub.
Yes.
We always extend such services so that we keep our children very active but equipped with skills.
Yes.
See you next Friday with some other episode.
Right.
Don't go away.